What is the best martial arts for street fighting? Do you know this is, I think, the number one searched martial arts related question on the internet? What is the number one martial arts to win in a street fight? If you want the straight up answer to this question, I might entertain it at the end, and if I do, I'll put a timestamp on it. But if you haven't noticed by the thumbnail and my already a little bit aggravated tone of voice, I am not going to sit here and advise you or anyone else on street fighting. 1, street fighting is illegal. In most places, it's going to constitute some form of assault or grievous bodily harm, regardless of whether or not you two are both consenting adults choosing to hit each other in the face, whatever it might be. And I assume more often than not that that is not the case. 2, there are far better ways for you to get an adrenaline hit, for you to feel something, for you to deal with your pent-up anger, frustration, rage, whatever the true reason that you are engaging in something like this on the street. There are better avenues and other things to do. And if it comes down to being a financial situation, there are mechanisms in place and there are places you can go to get help and assistance. So please do not street fight. And do not seek out, and especially from martial artists and martial arts instructors, do not come to us and put us in a situation where we need to tell you that we're not going to provide you with that kind of information. Now, if you're asking, what is the best martial arts for self-defense? Because the only reason that I would want anyone using martial arts outside of a competition, outside of a professional sporting environment, would be in the defense of themselves or those nearest and dearest to them. And again, I'll preface this by saying that it should be your absolute final resort. You should have tried to talk your way out of it. You should have tried to avoid getting in that situation in the first place. You should provide ample warning, all the rest of it, before you actually feel the need to physically harm another person at all. However, if it's self-defense and if you've tried everything you could try and it's down to the point where something is going to happen, there's going to be a physical confrontation, this is what I'll say. There's really 2 elements to it. There's the striking element, as in, and this goes beyond just punching, things such as being hit with a bat, weapons, knives, all of this stuff. And then there is the grappling element of this. And I don't mean, putting them in a kimura or taking them down and getting them in an armbar. I mean someone trying to choke you, someone bear hugging you, someone putting you in a full Nelson, trying to hold you against your will or hurt you. So by that, you can do a little breakdown really of what you need to have covered. You need to have sufficient ability in some form of striking. I lean towards things such as kickboxing and Muay Thai because they have more weapons. So boxing is great, very effective. If you're good with your hands, you're probably fine. And importantly, you understand things like distance and timing, which is still very much relevant in a situation like this. But kickboxing and Muay Thai introduce things like knees, kicks, low kicks, elbows, and these are really effective weapons for disarming people, as well as meaning that you don't need to rely on your fists. Our fists are not designed to be used outside of gloves. They're not even really designed to be used in gloves. Punching is not something natural to us, and our hands are not designed to withstand it. So you have a lot of chance of hitting someone with a bare hand and doing a lot more damage to your own hand than you probably will do to their face. So I don't recommend punching people at all. But if you're going to strike someone, if you have to strike someone, self-defense situation, open palms, elbows, etc., this is where things would move towards. Grappling wise, I always lean people towards some form of jiu-jitsu. In particular, everyone knows these days Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And again, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a sport and as part of combat in terms of MMA, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, but it's also a very dangerous weapon. The ability to choke someone out or the ability to break someone's arm, which is what Jiu-Jitsu will provide, is a very serious thing to be able to do. And this is, again, coming back to this whole thing of street fighting and why I'm so against it. Once you learn certain things, like once you learn how to properly apply a rear naked choke, once you learn how to properly put a knee strike into someone's head, you need to understand the consequences that can come with performing these kind of actions. And you need to be willing to take on the ramifications of that. It's not as simple as you win the street fight. It's not as simple as you defend yourself, because you're actually capable of murder. You're actually capable of doing harm. And I don't mean, going to some weird school and learning like a 5-finger palm exploding heart technique or anything like that. I mean, real simple, you know how to cause very serious harm and possibly death. And that's something that you need to be very, very aware of. And it should be something, obviously, that we're all trying to avoid. But they're the two areas that, as someone who wants to defend themselves against almost any situation, you need to have something that teaches you how to be on your feet and protect yourself, which means how to avoid getting too close to someone, how to avoid attacks coming at you, how to defend, and if needed, how to strike someone safely. You then also need a defense and an understanding of defense of what to do when someone gets a hold of you, when they grab you by the neck, when they grab your arm, when they grab your wrist. What can you leverage to get them off or cause enough pain or get a bit of control over a situation that might have bubbled and boiled over? The biggest thing that I suggest you learn how to do is learn how to talk to people. The most powerful self-defense is learning how to communicate and learning how to bring situations down. If you look at really good countries that have good law enforcement, a lot of it is not, they don't spend loads of time martial art training. They should probably spend some more. With that can be a video for another day. But what they will spend time on, hopefully, is learning how to talk people down, how to diffuse a situation, how to calm down someone who's aggravated, upset, angry, etc. Now, obviously, there's exceptions. There's people who are just insane and they're just going to attack you with a knife. There are people who are too far gone. There are people that might feel that you've done them wrong, and therefore they're coming at you anyway. And again, that's where these things come into play. The final thing I'll say on it is in regards to weapons. I don't believe in weapons training or self-defense against weapons. I will teach it in the sense of, I will show people how effective a knife can be or how effective a gun can be, so that you gain even more fear and respect of someone who is wielding one. I never want anyone, and this is what terrifies me about a lot of martial arts that do teach this stuff, I never want you to feel confident when someone pulls a knife on you. I don't want you to feel like you can or should do anything about that other than give them your money and live to fight another day and live to see your family another day. And I think that's a really important part of this. And one more time, just swinging back to the street fighting, which is what the origins of this kind of video was meant to be, is understand that in these situations here, you're dealing with life and death, and it might not feel it. It might not feel like that's where it's going to go, but that's where it can go. And that's not something I would like anyone to have to deal with, participate in, or anything else. So in regards to street fighting, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just find another way, find another place, find another thing to do, find another way to spend your time, spend your energy. If you can, join a martial arts school, but not so that you can learn these things to go use in the street, but so that you have an avenue to deal with whatever it is you feel you need to deal with physically. Okay, my school has a very strong policy. If I hear that anyone has been using anything that they've learned in the club, or I just hear that anyone is street fighting who trains with me, it's instant ban. You're out. You leave. You don't train here anymore. We do it with the kids. If the parents tell us, we will, if we tell them, if we hear the kids have been using it in school, they'll get one very firm warning from me, a very personal one-on-one. And if it happens again, we cut it off. We're not going to teach you or provide you with the tools to hurt people if that's what your intentions are with it. If you need to come here because you're aggressive and you need somewhere to channel that aggression in a healthy way, come through the door. But if you're going to take what we teach you, take what we learn and take it outside and hurt people, we're not going to stand by and support that. So guys, this was a bit of a ranting video. I apologize if I came off moody or angry or I've lowered the tone. I mean it with the best of intentions. Do not street fight. If you need to defend yourself, make sure that you can defend yourself in striking and in grappling to a certain extent, either or, but really learn how to talk to people, learn how to avoid these situations as best as possible, and just do right by people. Just be a good person and go do martial arts for the joy of learning something, of staying fit. And if you need to, then go and compete in it and do it in a healthy, fair, sporting way. Guys, I hope that helps. If you want to ask me a question, drop it down in the comments below and I will see you on the next one.